Okay, so we're first going to talk about adding fractions with unlike denominators. So let's take the fraction 2/3 and let's add 1/6 to it. So I want to ask myself, I need to find a common denominator. So I need to look at my denominators and say, okay, what is a common multiple between 3 and 6? So remember, multiples are numbers that have both of the denominators as a factor. So we can list the multiples of 3 and 6 to find the smallest number they have in common. Or we can look at 3 and we can look at 6, and I can ask myself, is 3 a factor of 6? Is 6 a factor of 3? Now we know that if we think about the factors of 3, which are 1 and 3, we know that 3 is a factor of 6 because 3 times 2 is 6. So my common denominator here would be 6. So I would need to change. Now 1/6 can stay the same, so I'm going to leave that alone. But I have 2/3 plus 1/6. So I need to find an equivalent fraction because I cannot add fractions unless they are cut into the same amount of pieces. So I need to find a new fraction that has a denominator of 6 that is equivalent to 2/3. So I need to think about how many 1/6 pieces will fit inside of 2/3. Well, I can look at it in a model perspective. So let's say I have 2/3. And then let's say I have cut them into thirds and then cut them into 6. So if I shade in 2/3, I got to figure out how many 6 fit inside of there. So I see 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6. 4/6 equals 2/3. So 4/6 will fit right there. So 4/6 plus 1/6 equals 5/6. Now let's say that we don't have a model. Let's say there is no model. How could I solve this without a model? So in 4th grade, you learned about equivalent fractions. So I could come up here and say, okay, 2/3 is equivalent to how many 6? So I need to ask myself, 3 times what will give me 6? 2. So if I multiply 3 times 2 to get 6, then I must also multiply the numerator by 2, because in order for them to be equivalent, they would have to be multiplied or divided by the same number. So 2 times 2 is 4. So there is the mathematical version of this. So again, 4 plus 1 is 5/6. I could also draw a model of the whole thing. 2/3 plus 1/6. 2/3 plus 1/6. So again, I would need them cut in the same amount of pieces. Well, this was already cut into 6, so I know that I could cut thirds into 6. So since I have 3 columns, I just need 2 rows. So now my equivalent fractions are now visual. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5, 6 pieces. So 4/6 plus 1/6 equals 5/6.